Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be talking about massive news of a potential link between the IMF and Stellar. So before we talk about the main story today, I'd like to show you a clip of Christine Lagarde, who is the chair of the ECB and the former chair at the IMF, where she goes into detail and provides insights about how CBDCs will function and how CBDCs will be incorporated into the wider marketplace in the foreseeable future.
It will be decided in October. So we are preparing the ground. We want to be ready. We want to be trained, but it will not be decided until October 23. As I said, I don't want Meta, Google or Amazon to suddenly come up with a currency that would take over the sovereignty of Europe. Now we have in Europe this threshold. Above 1,000 euros, you cannot pay cash. If you do, you are on the grey market. So you take your risk. You get caught, you are fined, or you go in jail. But you know, the digital euro is going to have a limited amount of control. There will be control. You're right. You're completely right. We are considering whether for very small amounts, you know, anything that is around 300, 400 euros, we could have a mechanism where there is zero control. But that could be dangerous.
So as detailed by Lagarde, financial bodies around the world, most notably the likes of the IMF and ECB, are set to roll out their CBDCs at some point. So with the likes of the IMF and the ECB looking to roll out their CBDCs, there's been a number of developments involving CBDC developments among these institutions, where I actually came across a tweet provided by STZoo on Twitter, where he actually highlighted to an article published by Yahoo, where they actually go into detail and provide insights about how cross-border payments and how the utility of potential crypto assets could be utilized across the wider marketplace, and how these utilities could be incorporated into a wider CBDC infrastructure, where the actual article goes into depth and provides information about how cross-border payments through the utility of DLT innovations could lead to cheaper and faster settlement transactions to be authorized. And the actual article highlights to how the utility of the Bitcoin network could be quite limited, especially due to the network being powered by its proof of work consensus mechanism. So with proof of work having some benefits, there's also a number of limitations associated with the technology and in turn the Bitcoin network. Most notably, it takes a lot longer for transactions to be authorized, and there's limitations in transaction speeds to enable cross-border payments to be authorized. So again, this article here goes into a bit more depth and why the ECB have actually stated as how Bitcoin could not be the most optimal choice for cross-border payments. However, other alternatives could be better options for cross-border payments and even CBDC developments. So this isn't the only reference to the potential utility of crypto assets by the likes of the ECB and IMF, where the IMF have actually conducted a research paper entitled Trust Bridges and Money Flows, a digital marketplace to improve cross-border payments. So the actual article was published a few months ago in March actually. So there's a number of points in the article which actually highlight to how cross-border payments, stablecoin utility and CBDCs will become more integral across marketplaces around the world, and how these assets could be leveraged to improve financial activities which occur between varying regions at any given time. So in one segment of the article and paper, a section was called Extensions and Further Considerations, where this section of the paper actually highlight to three models of utility, especially for cross-border payments in the case of the XRP Ledger, the Stellar Development Foundation and the Bitcoin Lightning Network, where these networks could be ideal options to improve cross-border payments and even potentially allowing for the development of a CBDC. So the IMF are abundantly aware of the potential benefits the likes of the Stellar Network can provide, especially in terms of cross-border payments. So with the likes of the IMF and other financial bodies around the world conducting research surrounding CBDC developments and just general studies about how financial developments will revolutionize in the near future, with the organization being aware of the Stellar Foundation and its innovations, this could see the likes of the IMF choosing to leverage and implement Stellar's use cases into financial developments which occur around the world, especially potentially across Europe and further afield. So STs have actually highlighted to how the Stellar network could be at the centre of CBDC developments across the likes of Europe and further afield, most notably due to Stellar already being at the centre of CBDC developments in Ukraine, where Stellar's involvement in the development of a Ukrainian CBDC is in view of improving financial activities which occur within the nation, and in turn the likes of the Stellar network could be incorporated, most likely a private variant of the Stellar network, to enable and validate transactions more seamlessly across the wider Ukrainian marketplace in the form of a CBDC. So very exciting, and it'll be interesting to see how these developments pan out and whether the likes of the ECB and other European nations, or even nations in general, choose to harness the benefits of the Stellar network, and whether the IMF promote the utility of the Stellar network around the world. So this is a nice diagrammatic illustration of the number of developments both Stellar and Ripple are at the centre of. And if we look at Stellar, Stellar is involved in mainly cross-border payment actions and partnerships. So Stellar already has an extensive repertoire and experience in terms of validating and enabling transactions to be authorized in a given economy at a given time. So these key intrinsic qualities could lead to the likes of Stellar being more widely incorporated and utilized across marketplaces around the world, especially in instances surrounding the validation of cross-border payments, and how the validation and execution of cross-border payments by the likes of Stellar could be harnessed in other protocols, especially surrounding finance, in the case of stablecoin utility, cross-border payments, and even CBDC developments. So Stellar's involvement in cross-border payments is also at the centre of Stellar being utilised by MoneyGram. So MoneyGram isn't actually using the public Stellar network. Instead, it's using a private variant of the Stellar network. So the main reason as to why MoneyGram has chosen to utilise the Stellar network is due to the benefits Stellar provides, most notably the provisioning and the active availability of the USDC stablecoin, where there's not too many other networks on the marketplace that provide USDC. And coupled with this factor, Stellar's network's innate qualities in terms of its high speed and scalability makes it a highly attractive proposition and ideal network to enable and authorize transactions which occur and arise between different nations and different individuals based in different regions of the world at a given time. So it indicates how extensive Stellar's use cases is becoming, and how the likes of MoneyGram could be at the centre of actively leveraging the Stellar network into developments involving cross-border payments and the actualization and authorization of payments, in this example through MoneyGram services around the world. But time will tell in regards to how this development will lead to the potential utility of the Stellar network by more organisations and institutions, including the likes of central banks, the IMF, and most notably the ECB. So as I mentioned, Stellar's network is being incorporated and utilised by so many organisations, including Circle as well as MoneyGram, as I mentioned, and Satoshi Pay. So Stellar is already at the centre of so many exciting initiatives and developments, and Stellar could become a key figure within cross-border payments and the actualisation and verification of payments which occur within given economies for years to come. But again, time will tell. And yeah, so this was a nice summary put together by Molly Elmore on Twitter, where she actually highlighted and provided a summary for the article published by the IMF in regards to cross-border payments, and how the utility of networks, including the Stellar network and the XRP ledger, could be incorporated into the wider marketplace, and how these innovations could be incorporated and leveraged into cross-border payments in the form of stablecoin utility and the active involvement and rolling out of the Stellar network for CBDC developments and protocol infrastructure. So I highly recommend looking through the thread of tweets put together by Molly, and even pause this video here to look at the full summary. You can make your own mind up about how this development could potentially lead to the likes of Stellar and other networks being leveraged and utilised across marketplaces, most notably for CBDCs and stablecoin initiatives. So this all comes back to the Stellar team looking to make an announcement, a big announcement, in 3 days now. So it'll be interesting to see what this announcement involves, and it seems to be quite significant. So hopefully it could have impacts on the price of XLM, and it'll be all around good news for all of us XLM token holders. But yeah, not too long until the announcement, and yeah, we'll see what happens. What are your thoughts on Stellar? Do you think the IMF should use Stellar? Let us know your views in the comments below. Thank you for watching, Crypto Clan. Don't forget to like, subscribe and click on the notification bell. Let us know your views in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.